Hello, I'm attorney Scott Lesowitz, and the big headline is that apparently Michael Irvin has agreed to dismiss his defamation lawsuit against Marriott and is back with the NFL network to start the 2023 NFL season. And apparently Marriott is not making any payment to Irvin. So despite that lack of payment, I think that this litigation turned out great for Michael Irvin. I think he got what he wanted out of this lawsuit. And on the other hand, I think that this turned out terribly for Marriott from a PR perspective, which frankly should have been the thing they were most concerned about in this litigation. I think somewhere in Barbie land, Paris Hilton is rolling her eyes at how much better Hilton would have handled this. All right, so let's start with Michael Irvin. I think he dismissed this lawsuit because he got what he wanted out of this litigation. He's back in the good graces of the NFL network. He's back on their broadcasts. He's even joined Skip Bayless's show and is now one of the 40 former professional athletes on Bayless's show. And I think it's likely that this happened because Michael Irvin, through the litigation process, was able to obtain the surveillance video, the reports of the incident, the alleged incident, and was able to publicize more information and more evidence. The public reaction was largely sympathetic to Irvin, especially as more information came to light. All right, so now let's get to Marriott. Oh, Marriott, their attorneys should not be patting themselves on the back for this dismissal occurring. Okay, so in my opinion, Marriott made two big blunders from a PR perspective. All right, so to me, the number one blunder was that when Michael Irvin's attorneys requested early discovery, early production of the surveillance video and any reports, that Marriott fought that. It was obviously inevitable that the surveillance video and reports would have to be turned over in discovery. Instead, they should have just acted like it was no big deal and have it produced quickly and come off as hey, we're not afraid of this, we're being transparent. All right, and the other big blunder, in my very humble opinion, for whatever it's worth, was that Marriott came out swinging against Michael Irvin in the public and in court papers, basically attacking him on the merits, attacking Michael Irvin's conduct, and defending the actions of the hotel when Marriott had absolutely no reason to do so. So let me back up and explain. So Michael Irvin initially sued Marriott and the Jane Doe in state court in Texas. Marriott then removed the case to federal court in Texas and then filed a motion to dismiss for lack of personal jurisdiction, in which they basically just argued that, hey, you should have sued us somewhere else like Arizona instead of Texas. So Marriott won that motion, but big deal. Irvin just refiled his lawsuit in state court in Arizona. But more importantly, for the purposes of this video, in Marriott's papers, Marriott telegraphed that a big defense for Marriott in the case was going to be that regardless of if anything was done wrong, that Marriott would not be liable because it's not responsible for the actions that happened at the hotel and by the hotel because it was operated by a franchisee or licensee, and that Marriott therefore isn't responsible for what happened at the hotel. That may well have been a good defense. We don't know because the case never got that far, and frankly, it was going to take a very long time for that defense to be flushed out and before Marriott would have to worry about the merits of Michael Irvin's claims. In my mind, it was pretty easy for what Marriott should have done PR-wise, and that was, yes, on the one hand, emphasize that they take the safety of anybody who works at Marriott hotels very seriously, and that they take alleged sexual misconduct very seriously, but at the same time, emphasize that, hey, we don't have a dog in this fight. We weren't involved in whatever happened, and we want to be transparent. We want to make sure that Michael Irvin receives the facts, whatever they may be, because once again, it's not our fault. And we'll make sure he gets the information, we'll make sure he gets the video and the reports, just so long as we're sure that we are protecting the confidentiality of the alleged victim. But we also have a guest who was staying at a Marriott branded hotel. And so we just want to make sure that things are flushed out. And if it turns out that Michael Irvin was treated improperly, we're not saying he was, but if that's what it turns out, then we want to address it. And that would be very unfortunate to any of our guests. So there is a lesson here for attorneys, and that is that sometimes achieving the best result for your client doesn't just mean winning in court.